All right, what's going on, everyone? Corey here with the Lacrosse Journal. I got associate head coach at Wesleyan, Will Pilat. How we doing, my man?
Hey Corey, good, good. Thanks for having me on. Glad to talk to you today.
Yeah, it's good to have you. It's great to catch up. I know typically this time of the year on a Friday, you guys are probably preparing for something a little different than whatever it is that you're doing today. Like, what have you been up to kind of consume your days and keep things moving in the right direction?
Yeah, it's definitely different. We would have been had a big week of our season. Would have played Tufts, and then we play Williams tomorrow. So I'm still somewhat following our schedule a little bit with like games. Like man, we would have been playing, but yeah, not too much really. I guess starting to turn the page to some recruiting. I've been reaching out to a couple of my friends in the coaching world. Just I mean, talking some lacrosse and some X and O's, really more just like doing some happy hour type stuff and hanging out with those guys. And because we can't see each other in person, like a lot of guys from the NESCAC in the league. So no, it's been good. Just kind of laying low a little bit and going from there.
And how about like staying connected with some of the guys on the team? Like, what have you guys as a program been doing just to keep the boys engaged and keep the communication up?
Oh, I don't know if that was me. I think I might have froze.
Yeah, I froze. I didn't catch. I'm not sure if you started talking after I asked you, like kind of like what you were up to, but it froze at that point.
Oh, it froze. Yeah. So hopefully we're good, but yeah. So not too much. Just kind of been laying low, I guess. We've been doing some Zoom meetings with our team. In our incoming 2020 class, next year's freshmen. Just kind of touching base with those guys, with our coaches. We've done a couple of Zoom meetings with them. Done some Zoom stuff and calls with some other coaches outside of Wesleyan. Just kind of more casual. Just kind of catching up with some guys that maybe we haven't seen that we would have seen from games this year. But yeah, not too much. Maybe it's funny. I've been looking up some old games from on like YouTube and stuff back from when I was younger. So just watching a little bit of lacrosse when I can and just kind of hanging out.
Yeah, I've been doing a couple like video breakdowns. We're doing some for our players where we're watching footage from the fall and just kind of like breaking it down. Like I know I ran into you up in New England. Like maybe grab one of those games on film and break it down with our kids. I was breaking some old college footage down of a college coach when he was playing back in the day, which is cool and fun. But no, I think it's good. Like, do you feel as though your kids are at a place where like some of your players on your team are at a place where like they want to watch some footage and get better mentally, or are they more like, I just need to not even like think about that right now, otherwise it's just gonna frustrate me.
Yeah, I think there's definitely a mix. We're not trying to push too much lacrosse stuff on guys right now. It's more checking in to see, hey, how's school going and that kind of stuff. So I think
Yeah.
maybe I know there's some teams that are doing some video breakdowns, stuff like that. So we might get into that. Actually, one thing that was kind of cool that I wasn't on the call, but they did it today, which is a cool idea. Coach Reba, we have a team group meeting just with our guys, and he put it in the team group meeting last night. Hey guys, we're having an alumni networking type thing today on Zoom. So if anybody wants to join, like here's the Zoom password and whatever. And it was three guys who'd played the past couple of years that are in the working world and all in different industries. So I think they were just doing like a Q&A type thing with our guys. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's an awesome idea. I mean, it's a good way to keep kids in and looped in on a professional level, at the next level, which is like sometimes something kids don't think about, especially right now when they're so caught up with their season. So it's cool to get ahead of that. That's a smart way to respond. You want to take us back a little bit and just talk about your playing days and how you kind of got into college coaching and ended up at Wesleyan?
Oh, sorry. Can you repeat the question? I heard some playing days and I didn't hear the rest of that. Sorry about that.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Awesome. So yeah, just take us back a little bit and talk about your playing days as a collegiate player and what inspired you to become a college coach, and then just take us through your coaching journey to how you ended up at Wesleyan.
Yeah, so I'm from Roanoke, Virginia. That's where I'm from, southwest in the state, so definitely far from Connecticut. So my father is the head coach at Roanoke College. He's been there for 32 years. He was head coach in 1989. He played at Roanoke. My mom went to Roanoke College. So that's where they met. So that's where I grew up. The whole time. He's still coaching there to this day. So I played for my father for 4 years in college. So I think being around my dad and his team growing up and stuff. Like I was, in middle school and stuff, I was always on the bus and like going to games and going to practice and just being around his team. I think that's kind of where I started to, really like fall in love with lacrosse basically. And I think probably about my, sophomore and junior year, I'd been thinking about coaching for a while. And I think just being around my dad was something I kind of wanted to do. And it's funny how we kind of found Wesleyan. It was like my senior year and I was talking to my dad about looking into trying to find some, to get into the coaching world pretty much. He said, okay, well, I can help you. And we want you to kind of, get out of the league, get out of the ODAC and learn from someone else. And it was funny. He and John, Coach Ray didn't really know each other too well back then. And, I just kind of sent out some feelers to all Division III coaches. I think it was about 25, 30 schools, just, hey, and really for me, I was looking to get a graduate assistant program. And I was asking a lot of schools, hey, is this something you guys have? And a lot of schools didn't, and some schools did. And they say, hey, we got a guy here now, but if you can wait a year, that kind of thing. And luckily at Wesleyan, there was an opening. So I just kind of slid right in right after I graduated in 2016. That summer, I moved up like a month after I graduated and, started, the summer grind started that summer. And obviously, been here ever since. So it's been a great place. And this my fourth season. This is 2020. This is my fourth season up here. So definitely a good spot. And I can say now that my dad and Coach Ray were definitely pretty tight, which is pretty cool. So, and actually my second year, 2018, we actually took a spring break trip, went to Virginia, and I played Roanoke. So played where I played. So that was a pretty weird being on the other sideline and stuff. That was kind of strange playing with against some of my old teammates. But yeah, that's kind of the journey I've had. So just the only place I've coached is Wesleyan, and then playing at Roanoke.
When you went down to Roanoke to play those guys, what what'd you say to your players like before the game? Did it mean anything like a little extra, or is it just like, hey, it's just a unique experience for me? Like it's just another game, guys. Like how'd you approach that?
Yeah, I think I can probably say I gave probably a longer scout than usual because there's a lot of guys that were my old teammates, so putting some more details in there. But I think we approached it just like another game. It was definitely, yeah, it was a strange feeling, I think, but I think that was it was definitely different for me that game for sure. It was, I guess the juniors and seniors at the time were the guys that I had played with, so kind of like half the team, and obviously knew all the coaches. My dad was on the other sidelines. So that was definitely a little weird, but I think the weirdest part was staying in a hotel in the same city that I grew up in. So I went home for a little. We had a practice, and then it was funny. My dad picked me up, or it was at school, like it was at Roanoke. And he picked me up, and we went home, and I hung out for a little. I had all my Wesleyan stuff on, so that was kind of fun. I didn't see it until after the game, but no, I think we just kind of treated it like any other game.
Yeah.
I think it might have been a little. For me, it wasn't any other game, I guess, but that's kind of the way our coaches treat it with our guys.
Yeah, no, that's cool. What was the impact of your dad on just like, I know not only him being a college coach and a very, well respected one for a long time, but I know he also has like a stamp on the goalie community and just developing that position, which is unique. How did that impact you as a player, and then also maybe coaching that position too a little bit in the college game?
Yeah, so for me, growing up and stuff, the Bill Pilot's goalie camp, that was my summer job. Kind of the traveling circus of goalies. So I would kind of go with my dad to, from camp to camp. He still has them. He's got more locations than ever nowadays. So for me, I probably should have been a goalie. I could have gotten to participate in all the camps, but for me as an offensive player, that meant I was a shooter at his camps. So I got to shoot on goalies, warm up goalies from pretty much when I was in 8th grade all the way through, through college. So for me, it was kind of, I always had a stick in my hand and that kind of thing. But I also got to learn from, obviously his style of teaching the position, and he's pretty flexible in terms of he's had a lot of different current college players and coaches that coach goalies that come to his camp, and it's pretty much, hey, we're doing a talk on stance, we're doing a talk on this, hey Corey, do you want to give the talk or whatever, based on who's working. So I think that was kind of cool. I got to listen over the years to a lot of different goalies. Like I remember, just a couple names like Joe Bano, he was All-American at Haverford. Johnny Rodriguez played at Salisbury. Obviously the Roanoke goalies, they all worked at, Jake Dorsey, he was All-American. Tons of guys. I can name a lot of different players. But I think that was pretty cool for me to hear their perspective. And then obviously being around my dad, I've heard kind of his take on the position. And then when I got to Wesleyan my first year, Charlie Congleton was our assistant coach, and he's at Eaglebrook School now in the prep school world. And but he was an All-American goalie at Wesleyan, so I got to kind of hear his perspective too. So I think I can definitely say I've shot on a lot of goalies. I think that's one of my biggest bonuses. I think I give a good warm up. I can definitely do that. But I think that kind of helped, give me some knowledge in terms of that position. Even though it was something I didn't play, it's definitely something I feel comfortable in. I work with our goalies every day. It
Yeah.
wasn't. So I think that was kind of a cool part of, getting to learn a different position.
Yeah, no doubt. Especially just how important the position is in general. And I think a lot of times, sometimes people think too, like if they didn't play it, they can't coach it. But for you, like you were around some great mentors. Your dad, just to name one, which is just makes you more valuable as a coach, and I'm sure helps your teams as you guys, as you guys work together and develop your kids. So you want to just talk a little bit about like what's it like coaching? Wesleyan's definitely a much different school than maybe like a Roanoke. You want to talk about the uniqueness just of the NESCAC conference and like why maybe kids want to play there and why it's a special place to play in general?
Yeah, sure. So, Wesleyan is definitely a great place to, first of all, to go to school. In New England, it's a great academic institution, like a lot of the schools in our league. So a lot of the draw that we get, and I feel like we're constantly going after the same types of student athletes. Every team pretty much in the league, because it's such a great opportunity for good competition, very high. Obviously a lot of good lacrosse in the conference, which is awesome. But every school is really competitive academically too. So I think what's fun to me that I've seen is we draw some national recognition from recruits. Like we got guys from all over the country, which is pretty cool. But we also obviously it's a high academic institution, so very competitive that way. And I think the people who end up at the end of the day that are accepted into Wesleyan and on our team and stuff, it's some guys that are highly motivated people, both in the classroom and on the field. So I think that's really fun for me to work with guys that want to be successful and are competitive on the field and things like that. So I think some of the main draws are just, not only school, like there's a lot of great programs and our alumni networking and things like that, but I hear all the time from guys that, especially our older guys, if they're looking for internships and going on interviews, sometimes they'll just, and I think this is true just from lacrosse in general, whether it's, not just in the NESCAC, but guys say something like, hey, I was on an interview and, the guy that was interviewing me for this whatever position, he played lacrosse at Brown back 30 years ago. And that's all we talked about for the first 10, 15 minutes. So I feel like those kinds of things, like it happens. Lacrosse is such a small world, especially in our league. Like a lot of guys know each other maybe from high school and that kind of thing, or through the recruiting process and stuff. So I think the familiarity, everyone obviously talks about it's a great opportunity and stuff, but I think that's something people don't talk about enough is a lot of guys know each other. At the end of the handshake, we'll see half the team talking to the other half the team where we play Middlebury or Amherst or whoever. So I think that's pretty unique to me. But I think it's just definitely a great league and Wesleyan's a great place to be. I think, top academic institution and, past couple and beyond the past couple of years had a really good run in lacrosse as well. So it's definitely a good spot.
Yeah. Were you guys, were you a part of the championship run?
I was. That was my second year. So
that was your second year. Okay. I wasn't sure if that was your first. Okay. So want to talk a little about just like how you guys were able to just go from being one of the best teams in your conference to, nationally recognized and then just going all the way. It's obviously something that people aspire, at the beginning of the season, if you have the ability to do it, you aspire to do it, but only one team can. So talk about that road a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely exciting. In the year before, in 2017, we made it to the NCAA semifinals and lost. RIT had a real strong team, and we just kind of ran out of gas that year. But I think getting a lot of pieces back from that team, we had a lot of confidence coming into the season in 2018, and certainly hit some bumps in the road and that kind of thing. But I think the good thing for us, we were pretty fortunate. We were healthy kind of at the right time of the year. We had a lot of our guys that were back and experienced players. We had a large senior class. We had two guys that come to mind. Harry Stanton was he's the program's all-time leading goal scorer from New Canaan, one of our attackmen. We also had Carter Hawthorne, who's from Massapequa. He was our all-time leading assist guy in program history. So I had two of those guys and on the same team at the same time, I think, plus a ton of other guys that were great players too. And a lot of guys that had played for 2 or 3 years and had been starters for a couple of years. So, I think just that having that confidence, that experience was really great. Having all those guys back, and we definitely had a tough road in the NCAA's. I mean, we opened with Cortland State, and then we played Cabrini in the next game, who won the championship last year.
Mhm.
Then we played Tufts in the quarterfinals. So we actually lost to twice, once in the regular season and then the NESCAC championship. So we had to ended up beating them, which was a good game. And we played RIT, the team in the semifinals, the team that had beat us. And then it was a crazy game, like 19-18, nuts. And then we end up having to play Salisbury, who, whenever you make it to the championship, that's definitely a formidable opponent, a lot of championship experience on their side. So I think that road was, I think, every game it was just almost felt like it was a tougher team that we were playing, and
Yeah.
just some storied teams right there. But I think just the whole year was awesome. I think part of it is guys staying healthy and had a little luck, which was good. I think you need some of those things, but it was definitely an awesome season to be a part of.
Yeah, it also shows you just how competitive Division III lacrosse is. Like to go through 4 or 5 rounds of college of postseason play where every team kind of could potentially win it all. Like just shows you how many good teams are out there. It's really cool that there's been more parity at Division III. It's cool how many high level players are now choosing to play Division III, and as a result, it's making programs like yours stronger. But not to mention people go there for a lot of other great reasons, because Wesleyan's a pretty special place academically and whatnot too. So that's really cool. I guess one thing I always like to touch on, and maybe we'll leave it with, is like what type of kid is a good fit where you guys are, like and what do you guys as a staff look for something that might stand out and saying like, hey, that's the type of guy.
Yeah, I mean, I get asked this sometimes by recruits too, and I think a big thing for me personally, obviously, everyone wants the guy that can score the goal and get the ground ball and make the play and that kind of stuff, and that all stands out too in the recruiting process. You want the best player that you can find, but I think something that we try to do, and Coach Raby definitely has taught me this, and talked about a lot, is we want to find the best person we can find too. So a lot of times that might take some more time. It might not be just what we see in the field. It's talking to maybe a club coach like yourself, or some high school coaches and that kind of thing. And so some of the things I sometimes look for too, just on the field, it's how a player reacts to what's happening around them. And the big thing for me is, like, if something bad happens on the field, if they make a mistake or turn the ball over or whatever might happen, let up a goal. If a goalie lets up a goal, and then we talk about this with our guys, it's the response that's really important. So what happens after one of those things? Hey, is a player hanging their head, or they're feeling sorry for themselves, or if they're, oh no, they're going after it, trying to make up for that play, and they just keep grinding away. I think that's something that we try to look for sometimes. Maybe not every player we see. We certainly want some guys who maybe don't make a lot of mistakes too. Like if you're making a ton of mistakes, that's not great either.
Yeah.
But I think even the best players, especially in college, like you got to have a short memory and kind of turn around quickly,
Mm-hmm.
because the level is just it steps up, from high school to college and every level. So I think that's some of the things that we talk about, but mainly just obviously the best players we can bring in, but good people as well.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's great advice. I think, just so on our end, like I did a freshman intro to recruiting webinar the other day with our freshman boys team. Did it with our girls too. But one of our kids asked like, hey coach, like, what are some things that we should like be careful of or something, like when we're playing? I'm not exactly sure I phrased it, like, what should we be careful of if we like make a mistake on the field? And I was like, the mistake itself is like one thing. I was like, the best guys are going to make at least a mistake at some point, like when they're out there in the field. I was
Right.
like, response is something that, at least, from what I've been told from some coaches, is really important. And, those are things that kids need to hear, because they're kind of sometimes scared to make mistakes, or sometimes they don't really understand the appropriate response, what to do and what not to do. So I think that's very valuable advice, and that's appreciated.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Cool, man. So, listen, so we're out of time here. We really appreciate you coming on, and we look forward to promoting all the great things that you guys are up to with, up at Wesleyan. And, we hope you guys get through this thing safely and get back out there hopefully this summer.
Yeah, thanks, Corey. You guys too, and hopefully we can see you guys play at some point this summer. That's the goal anyway. So definitely stay safe, and thanks for having me on.
Absolutely, Will. Thank you.